You going down?
And we're on, apparently. Thank you, Michael. Hey, everyone. Welcome to That Pedal Show VCQ. No, we're not.
We are on.
Oh, we are on. Okay.
Just shout, that would be fine.
Okay.
Hello, welcome.
Hey, everyone. Hope you're great. Dan here.
Nick here, hello.
Just lovely playing this guitar again.
Sorry for the weird audio, everyone. Welcome to VCQ. It does sound spectacular, that guitar. We need to keep an eye on our output levels.
What's
Because
going
like
on?
a total idiot, I've used the previous project and it may have some automation. Anyway, we live and learn. Welcome everyone, welcome to VCQ. I do wonder if we should just go back to an iPhone.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or we teach Jake how to do the production. That would be better, wouldn't it? That would be better. Anyway, welcome everyone. Welcome to VCQ. Sorry you couldn't hear Dan on the beginning there. I had to use my brain and my brain isn't really working. So there we are.
Todd Roy says audio is great now. Cheers, Todd.
Yeah. Good. Mark's gas. Yeah, we never plug in Mark for various reasons. Anyway, much more importantly, look at these awesome new t-shirts.
Check them out. Come on.
Highly groovy.
Groovacious.
I can't remember what this one's called. Sidewalk something or other. And that one's called Stomp Stamp.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
These are your designs.
Catherine did that one.
Did she?
I did this one.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, so that Pedal Show store, that's how we do things. That's how we pay for the whole shebang.
And what a shebang it is.
That's how we keep the lights on. Anyway, for those of you that are new, this is how it usually begins. Interesting things happen in about 5 minutes. Before then, we want to say congratulations to, let's see, Jan Nicholas from Germany. Jan, congratulations. You won the True-Fi Floyd Fuzz in our patron giveaway.
Wonderful thing
Part
it is
two
too.
for May.
You'll love
June's giveaway will be courtesy of Joe from Hello Sailor. Joe, thank you so much for doing this.
Joe came to an experience day a little while ago and he has this terrible habit of building pedals for everyone. This thing is outrageous.
Yeah, and he's made this. It's a Monmouth Octave Fuzz, which will go in the patron giveaway this month. It says HMS Monmouth, T-23 frigate named after Black Duke, fear nothing but God, built for TPS and including NKT 275 transistors.
Amazing. Amazing.
It's pretty cool. Joe, we thank you.
Yeah, thank
for
you,
your
Joe. You beautiful human.
unending kindness. Anyway, so that's the patron giveaway this month. If you are a patron, if you're not, get signed up. 2 brand new designs. These should be on sale pretty much as we speak, if you fancy that. And Catherine has asked us to reiterate that TPS never takes money to feature anything. We don't get paid by any manufacturers or companies or brands or anything like that. We don't do any product placement. The money we make is made by selling merch. That's what funds the show. Some people know, most of you already know that. Some people don't know that, so we just kind of underline it every now and again.
Gibson contacted us and said, Dan, I'll give you thousands of pounds to play this 1961 SGL Les Paul Jr. And I said, no.
You said no.
I said, no.
No.
That is crossing the line, Gibson.
You can take your
Don't
money.
do it.
Give it to Slash instead. And whoever else, you know, and whoever else. Good. So there we are. Housekeeping over and done with. We say thanks to BV.
Yes,
or
thank you,
indeed
BV.
BV, as I heard Keith from 5 Watt World say this week? Bévet.
Bévet.
Yeah, because he has the old axonal graves.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, axonal acutes.
Bavard. Bévet.
He's gonna
BV.
He's going to confirm or deny shortly, I think. All right, we're going to turn the super chats off because we have ample at this point. So if you've super chatted to this point, we will answer your question. But we're just going to turn them off now so that we can make sure that we get through them all and do that. Anyway, the reason I was watching Keith on 5 Watt World was he was doing an interview with the guy from Amplified Nation.
Oh, cool.
Who makes the Dumble type amplifiers. I watched a couple of interviews with him, which was quite interesting. Also watched the one with Robert, what's his name, Jake? Robert, American dude, did the interview with Tom Bukovac.
Smith, Palmer.
Someone will say in the chat. Robert Baker did a great show, which many of you told us to watch, so you know this already, with Tom Bukovac about the G7 and how he uses it. Brilliant. Really, awesome. Really great video. So, yeah, thanks to Robert and Tom for that. I never watch YouTube videos, and then I ended up watching about 3.
It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I remember that the first day I discovered YouTube, Doug sent me a link. And it would have been, I don't know, like many years ago. He said, have you seen this? And I clicked on a video. Then 6 hours later, I'm going, this is a thing.
He was still going at
it.
Elijah Blue Ricks is on. He says, happy midnight from China. Had to get a VPN to watch my favourite live stream.
Oh,
and listen to the tangents and sprinkle of guitar talk. Agents will probably come smashing through your door any moment, Elijah. We really hope they don't, but nice one for finding the VPN.
I lived in Beijing for a year.
Did you?
I did.
Did you? I know that.
I had a gig at the Hard Rock Cafe there for a long time. And my sister is there at the moment.
Ah.
Yes. I really, really enjoyed my time there. It's an amazing place.
William Young is on. Think I better leave right now. That Will Young. Maybe. John77 is on. John W777. Angad Singh is on. James
Will Young plays a wicked slow blues. Think I better leave right now. He's really on it.
Nice.
Like that.
Ollie Cam is on. Todd Roy is on from Nova Scotia.
Oh,
hi,
lovely.
Todd. Always good to hear from you, buddy.
El Centenazada. Saludos deses from Argentina. Lovely.
Chris Allen, lefty of bass. Rayville Zoot Alors is on. So lots of friends here as usual. Thank you very much for joining us. We greatly appreciate it.
Alien Hofo, big fan from Thailand. Lovely. Love Thailand.
Congratulations to the English football team last night that won 1-0 against Serbia, I think it was.
Cool.
I realised something about football last night, Dan.
What's that?
I've been a bit rude about football in the past.
Okay.
For various reasons. Do you know what football is?
A kickabout.
It's arc. It's analogue, it's real, and it is communal.
That's great. It's an arc reactor. There you go.
After our chat last week, you know, the world moving from arc to div.
Yes.
From analogue, real, and communal to digital, individual, and virtual. And if you want to be happy, if you want to get your brain in a better place, do less div and more arc.
So
that's the advice.
I wonder how many people play football on EA Sports versus the real thing.
Well, that's div, isn't it?
That's div, exactly.
That is the shift from arc to div.
There you go.
And we could extend that analogy to all kinds of things, including digital modelling amplifiers. Anyway, let's move along.
Let's get it right into the start.
No, come on. It's just been a hot topic this week because
it has been.
We had Christopher of Buckshire on the show on Friday. Thank you for all your kind comments.
Yes, lovely.
For Chris as well. On Chris's behalf, we want to say thanks. There's a lot of love pouring out for Chris, rightly so. And it was a pleasure to have him on the show, as always.
Yeah, he's out there doing it loud and proud. And
doing it.
It's wonderful.
Then let us stampede to the super chats. First in this week will be Plexico. As always, Duncan, thank you very much, mate. He says, greetings, D&M. Thank you for the great 2024 content. please share the super chat.
Oh, bless you. Thank you, buddy.
Okay, let's find a question then. It will be from Ollie Clam. Ollie Clam. Ollie Clam. And Ollie Clam says, "Evening, chaps. I play a telly in a country rock and classic rock band, 2 separate bands. Been saving for a Deluxe Reverb. Should I keep saving, get hand wired, or be considering any boutique versions? Thank you."
What a great question. So, without being overly familiar with all of the different hand-wired boutique versions, the standard Deluxe Reverb that we use is an amp that we keep coming back to, and it sounds spectacular. And I would happily gig that like all the time, maybe with something else as well, because I'm an idiot. But as a core tone amplifier, that thing is wicked.
It's great, and you've heard it on the show so many times. It's a brilliant thing. The hand-wired one, the Fender hand-wired one, is sweeter, bit louder.
Oh, is it a bit louder? Oh,
A little
that's
bit,
interesting.
but bizarrely it breaks up a bit earlier, if that can make any sense at all.
Right.
Than that one. They differ a lot as well over the years, in terms of the taper on the volume pot specifically, and you might like what the hand wire thing brings. Remember, they're all going to be a bit different as well. I like it, open harmonics, all that. Or you might like the relative safety of the PCB one. I don't know. I should talk to a tech, really. Maybe talk to a tech, find out if the hand-wired one is easy to work on. Might be.
I was at Robin's house last week, and he has the drip edge.
Were you on Robin Ford's house?
Also at Robin Ford's house, my mate Robin.
Yeah.
And he has the drip edge. It's like the silver panel with a little aluminium thing. It's a custom shop one.
Oh, okay.
And that sounded epic.
If you mean the newer Custom Deluxe series, 68 Custom Deluxe series, bits of them are a step towards Tweed architecture, particularly in power stage.
Right.
So they got a bit more mid-range grunt, overdrive a bit more. If you mean an actual late 60s version of it.
No, it was like a new one.
Newer one.
Brand new one.
Really cool.
Yeah.
The thing to say about Deluxe Reverb, Jake, who's with us today, helping us out, is using our Tone King Imperial. Imperial Mark II, 22 watts, which is kind of like a boutique version of a Deluxe Reverb. But one of the great things about it is it has a built-in attenuator. Have you used the attenuator? You haven't? Okay. Depending on the gig, our Deluxe Reverb, right, and this varies for all Deluxe Reverbs, but ours just doesn't sound anything below 4.5.
Right.
It just doesn't work below 4.5. 4.5 is its sweet spot. 5 is where it's really beautifully balanced, but that's just way too loud for most people these days. The good news about the Tone King is that you can use its built-in attenuator just to knock it back a little bit and get the amp working a bit harder. If you need to play at low volume. If you don't need to play at low volume, then a Deluxe Reverb is great, but it really does have to be in that spot.
Okay.
Like all great amps.
Yeah.
You know, they're not good loud and quiet. They're usually good in one very specific range.
Yeah.
So for that reason, Flying Beast, the Tone King is really worth looking at. It's a lot more money, but it's a lovely amp. Jake, have you been enjoying it?
Definitely.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, cool. Two Worlds Collide. Jamie Brown says, Chris Buck did a video about this, and I think he preferred the standard over the hand-wired. And maybe because you're saying that headroom thing. And Gordon Rankin says, the hand wire is usually easier to fix because the PCB sometimes require taking the whole PCB out, which is more work.
Yeah. I have to say, I prefer the standard AC30 custom over the hand-wired one.
Yeah.
It's just easier to get going at a reasonable volume. Now,
Yeah.
when it's in its ultimate sweet spot, maybe the hand-wired one.
Yeah.
But for general all-round use...
And the custom one also has got reverb.
Oh, maybe that was it.
Yeah.
Could be as simple as that, couldn't it? Anyway,
and it's a great reverb. So yeah,
hopefully that would help. Depending where you are in the world, Ollie, also check out the Mesa Fillmore series, which is a sort of version of it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many amps that are derived from a Deluxe Reverb, and then
What's the car? The car
Yeah.
Rambler.
Oh my
Is
God.
that one?
I had one of those, yeah.
Is that a deluxe type amp?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
So car, and now we're getting into, but it might be that you could pick up a car Rambler or Headstrong. If you can find one of those.
Best amp in the world.
Cerbella.
Jake says
Different
the
things,
Cerbella is the best amp in the world, but his is currently in for repair, which is why he's why he's using the Tone King. Yeah, hopefully that was helpful. It is, so many amps are derived of that classic mid-60s Fender thing, so you can go in all kinds of directions.
Yeah.
Yeah, go play one, turn it up, and see how you feel about that volume.
Yeah. But you will love that amp. It's such a wonderful, it's a great pedal platform. It's a great live amp. It's not too loud. Like, you can have it on in your room and have it play. I mean, they're just really fabulous. Very good.
Michael Giliberto. Hi, Michael.
Hello, Michael.
He says, greetings all. Really enjoyed both recent videos with Chris Buck. Hope he doesn't strain himself hauling that massive pedal board around. See ya. It was an interesting response in the comments. Loads of people going, 30 kgs, I'm out.
Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I don't hear drummers complaining about their traps case.
Because you always have to carry it for them.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. There's something in. It's not saying that it's not a consideration, but it's certainly, I wouldn't compromise on anything to make it a tad lighter. But that's just me.
Be interesting, wouldn't it? A few more years down the line, I've got a few mates who are into their 60s, some of whom are into their 70s. And it's a big deal for them because they just don't want to carry the stuff around anymore. So Neo speakers, lighter boards, or
Wheels. They're an amazing invention.
See, I hate wheels on amps because it shakes them to bits.
Just a
trolley.
A trolley.
Yeah.
Stick on wheels and
You've got to remember the trolley, haven't you? I mean, you can just get your flipping boutique tube amp in the front of your 911. Where are you going to put the...
That's true.
I do remember...
That's true.
I do remember... I don't know if it was a Boogie marketing campaign or whether it was what guitar magazines just used to say, but you used to be able to sit the Mark Series amp on the front seat of your car. And it would just sit in the front seat. Because that's how small it is.
Okay. What? Try to remember the name of those tiny little...
Gallion Kruger.
Gallion Kruger. And they were everywhere.
Pete Wright from Rock and Pop Music Shop. I went in to buy yet another late 70s, early 80s 100-watt plus twin. And he shows me this Gallion Kruger and he says, you should buy one of these. And he's got Boss ME5 plugged into it. And he plays it. I'm like, why?
Okay. Yeah.
Why would you buy that? Anyway, worked for him. It really worked for him. It was a little 2x8 thing, do you remember?
Yeah. I remember going to see gigs where people had them mic'd up.
Yeah.
And it's like...
I mean, I was 14 and an
Yeah.
idiot, so he was probably more right than I thought he was. But 15 I was maybe, actually.
I think you were as right as you thought you were.
No, because our other friend Taff, who worked in the shop as well, he was really into small tweed amps. And he would say, you should really try a small tweed amp. And I'd be like, no, you're on drugs, mate. It's just not loud enough.
Yeah, right.
But then, of course, as time goes on, you realise how flipping magic that stuff sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, should have at least
So we
tried
have a good
it.
tweed show coming up, actually, with Jesse Hoffs coming in with a bunch of unbelievable vintage tweed amps.
We got a date for that yet?
We do.
Do we?
Yeah. 3rd of July, I think it is.
Cool. I shall not be washing my helly hair on that day.
Neither shall I,
Scent of...
for many reasons.
Just go for a polish.
The Bolo Shino machine.
Yeah. Scent of a wheelchair pillow says, what a thrill for VCQ answering questions. Re Simon Jarrett, who was on last week.
Oh, so cool.
Would love to see you two acquire one of his amps. Surely one of my most cherished possessions.
Oh, lovely. They're going to be good, aren't they? Yeah. I mean, his pedals are so good, and the guy just knows tone, and he knows how to make it. He knows how to get that sound out of his head, his fingers into a design. He's just really, really great.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Raf Freitas. Hi, Raf. Nice to hear from you. He says, hi, Dan here, Mick here, Raf here.
Nice.
It's been a minute. At any point, would you have considered selling all of your guitars for the one? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep, absolutely.
I recently parted with a lot of guitars for that 345. It's not the one, but it's a one.
Yeah. I came very close to letting go of my 65 Telly.
For the SG?
For the SG.
Yeah.
It came down to it. I couldn't let it go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny. Been reflecting quite a lot on these sorts of things lately, on gas and the pursuit of tone and all of that from a sort of different perspective. And, you know, when it comes down to it, when you're actually in harness, as it were, either doing a gig or recording, what are you playing? Chances are it's one of two guitars. Unless you're, you know, an actual session player where you do have lots of things that you draw on. But the thing where you're at home and you're doing your thing at its strongest, it's usually a very select bunch of stuff. And all the other stuff is stuff that you've collected because maybe you want it, or, I don't know, scratching a gas itch or something like that. But there does come a point where a distillation, or at least a consolidation, back to try and remembering what it is you play the guitar for.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the Sunburst Strat,
Yeah.
the Two Rock, and a couple of things.
Yeah. Yeah, completely.
And everything else it's nice to have it all, but
You'd be okay with that.
I'd let everything go for the Strat
Yeah.
if I had to.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of, if I could only take one guitar from here, it'd be red. Because I can do everything I need to do on red. However, the guitar I play every day is the SG, the 62 SG.
Yeah.
I play that every day now. There's something in that instrument I'm just absolutely digging. But I pick up red and I just know exactly where I am.
Yeah.
You know.
Now then, a slight tangent. I spent some time with Paul Stacey over the weekend.
Oh,
Has
cool.
he shown you his telly with the three switch on it?
Is it the black telly?
No, it's like a ash blonde one with a maple neck.
No.
So he gets it out and he's like, he shows me his telly with a switch on it. I'm like, I'm out, because it's an extra switch. And then we played it for a bit.
Right.
There's something on this I think you will really like.
Okay.
And you may have tried it before, but I don't know if you have.
Paralleling the pickups.
No. So a bit like on an Esquire, because it was derived of an Esquire. It's got number one position. It's got the cap sound, and obviously that is hugely dependent on the value of the cap. And normally I'd be like, "Oh, Wool City, take it away."
Yeah.
But it was basically Tube Screamer EQ,
Oh, okay.
and it was so cool with gain.
Right.
But the other one is bridge pickup straight to the output jack.
Okay, yeah, bypasses everything.
I think you would love it.
Yeah.
I think you would absolutely love it.
I think you would want to punch me in the face
Every time,
Yeah.
because you would literally go la la crank, and you'd be using it 100. But I really think you'd love it.
Yeah.
Because it's just, if you've never tried it, and if you're dubious about these things, you will not believe the amount of loading 2 pickups and a switch puts on a bridge telly pickup.
Oh yeah.
It's literally, even on a bridge telly pickup, right? Which, so those of you might already be going, kill me. It's like, imagine taking a blanket off that.
Yeah.
That's what it's like.
Yeah.
And I was just thought, oh, Dan would love this. We should try it. Not in any of your guitars that you desperately care about, but in something else.
Okay.
See
Yeah,
if you
it could be
do
fun.
like it, or whether it. I'm interested to find where Dan's edge is, because I have yet to find it.
Okay.
Morley Robertson. Hello, Morley. Thank you for your super chat. He says, leg ends, new pedal day for me. After 35 years of playing, I bought my first Big Muff.
Oh wow.
Found one of your videos on it that was helpful, so no question today. Please take one from the chat. Thank you,
lovely.
Morley.
Thank you, bud.
Okay, there was a chat. There was a good question I saw just a bit earlier. Lap K78 says, hunting for the forever delay. I'm down to a Halo, a DD200, an Echo System, and a Meraki.
Mm-hmm.
I've realised that the analog sound is my fave. The ES is very close to the Meraki in analog, but is more versatile.
Mm-hmm.
Should I keep 2?
Okay. So, so delays. The most important thing is to identify what you want to do with it. It's great to have a delay that does a million things, but if all you're going to use it for is simple repeats on a solo tone, you don't need all that option paralysis. However, whenever we've had the Echo System delay on the board, it sounds as good as anything we've ever had here. It's a really fabulous sounding delay pedal. The fact that you can have 2 delays in parallel is amazing.
Does an amazing analog
sound.
recreation.
Yep. Now, if what you want to be able to do, and you have a use for it, is to utilize some of those really creative delay algorithms, Echo System every day of the week. But if you get to that point, you go, well, actually, all I'm using delay for is to thicken up solos every now and then the Meraki.
I think that's how you say it. It's the new one from Walrus Audio.
Yeah.
Really, really
stereo analog
looking.
delay. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Really sexy.
That would be, or, dare I say, if delay is your thing, nothing does analog like analog. It just doesn't.
I've discovered something though that really annoyingly, and you might be able to explain why. I love the sound of analog delay, and I put an analog delay on my board for the recent gigs we did, but it buffers in a way that the digital ones don't. Why is that? My tube driver sounds like pants through the analog delay. It just gets bright.
Interesting.
Through the analog man specifically.
Yeah.
Doesn't do it through the tone.
That is really interesting, and I had the same issue with a Germanium fuzz with the Memory Man.
We should look into it. That's a really interesting question.
Yeah, because it's just an input impedance thing. Okay, we'll have a look into that.
I mean, it might be because when you've got the analog delay on, the nature of the delay repeats is dark anyway. So when you then switch...
Yeah, but it's the bypass tone. It's the through tone, right, that goes bright.
Yeah.
Let's have a play.
It's horrible.
It's a great question.
The point being, the choice of delay isn't just about the delay. It's also about how does it play with the other stuff on your board.
How it affects the rest
and
of
I
your
immediately went back to the Future Factory because I just couldn't...
Yeah.
Horrible, buffered, nasty...
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's have a play with that. That's a great idea.
It annoyed me. So what was your answer then, Dan? Keep 2, wasn't it?
If you love the flexibility, but you specifically want analog thing, have 2. I always have at least 2 delays on my board.
Yeah.
I've got my stereo delay is the Otto Machines, and my straight analog thing is the EFX3, the Echo Fix.
Yeah.
And that is the best standing delays I've ever had. Now I don't have a lot of flexibility there. I've got flexibility in the Otto Machines, but not like I would with a timeline or something like that. But I worked out after the recent gigs that we're doing and looking at doing, Mick's got the Mick Taylor Blues Implosion happening. I'm getting the Dan Band together, and actually looking at the songs I'm doing in that, I don't need 1,000 different delay things.
No.
I need those 2 delays.
Yeah.
and I'm good.
I think it was the last experience day, and something else we did in here for a mess about. I got the old tape echo out, and it's like, oh no,
No, that's a
the
mistake.
sound.
It is the
That's
sound. Well, and so we're, when the EFX3 turned up, Jake was here and plugged it in, and it's like, that's it. You there's no other way of getting that sound. You can get emulations, and they're all fantastic, but you plug a real tape delay, and it's like, that's it. Getting all misty just thinking about it.
Scott Curry says, I don't have the buffer issue with my ARDX20 and a Kingsley Minstrel. I wonder if you've got something else that's buffered in between, Scott. That could be it. But
the output impedance, it'll have to do with the output impedance of the pedal before the ARDX20.
yeah,
So, yeah, let's have a play. Because the output, see, the one thing about the Keeley stuff, sorry to jump
Kingsley.
the Kingsley stuff, is that, and why I gravitated to his pedals early on, is because with a lot of valve overdrives, they never addressed the issue of the output impedance.
so what, it's too high or something?
So normally it's way too high.
Yeah, interesting.
And
Okay.
because a normal valve preamp in your amp, it's only designed to push cable like that far
Yeah,
to the phase inverter.
yeah,
And whenever I had things, a preamp in a pedal, I really suffered with that issue because the output impedance was way too high. The Kingsley stuff is like, okay, if you're in pedal mode,
He's got it sorted.
It's got it sorted.
yeah. Interesting.
He's so clever.
Definitely worth an experiment. Definitely worth an experiment. Okay, moving along. Stephen King is on. He says, what is your best value gear regardless of price? That is an extremely intelligent question.
I love that.
So we say again, Stephen King says, what is your best value gear regardless of price?
Not
i.e.,
including guitars?
what's your best value guitar?
Red.
Yeah,
Red cost me 1,200 quid.
yeah,
Less than £1 a gig.
yeah.
And it's turned into the most amazing thing. And so that, absolutely.
Mine would have been blue because I paid a certain amount of money, used it for hundreds of gigs,
Yeah.
and then sold it for more than I paid for it. So that was excellent value.
Yeah. Yeah. That is one thing about
It's the thing you use the most and get the most
Yeah.
use out of, isn't it? Is
Yeah.
what it is. That's what it is.
But also, how that you get the most use out of, but you have to put joy into the equation.
Yeah.
So at the moment,
So you could draw a Venn diagram of different types of value.
definitely. At the moment, the amount of joy that I'm getting from that old SG, and it has changed my approach. At 52, I'm discovering things new on the guitar because of that instrument. That's very high value for me. It's an expensive guitar, but very high value.
Yeah. It's turning into my old Strat because that's all I ever played.
There you go.
And sure, it's a lot of money to outlay, but as long as something horrific doesn't happen to it, when I die, it will go to somebody
That's the good gear.
who will either sell it and buy a nice new car,
Yeah.
or they will keep it and it'll be worth a lot more money in the future again.
Good gear, but doesn't depreciate.
But I think what we're doing here is we're veering away from your question a little bit because we're immediately attaching the monetary value, aren't we?
So let's not-
And that's the tempting thing to
Step
do.
aside from guitars for a minute.
Yeah.
Apart from guitars, best value gear that you've got. Pick best value piece of gear.
Universal Audio Apollo.
Nice.
That's the stuff I use more than anything else in the world.
Yep.
There you go. An audio interface. That's the bit of gear I use more than anything else in the world.
Yeah. I would say since I've got the matchless, everything else has sort of paled when, you know, I couldn't not use that amp. It'd have to be a whole different change in mentality for me.
Same with I
An
Got Two
approach.
Rock. Exactly the same.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine myself
Yeah.
that amp not being part of that. You know,
Yeah.
what I do now. I have so I've got a Lazy J20, which I gigged for 10 years. Extraordinary amplifier. And as far as value for money, that's absolutely up there. The thing with the mattress is I can, you know, and I'll use the J with the mattress, which I did the last two. It sounds wicked, but I can throw everything else in there with the mattress. But the mattress is always the centerpiece. It's a great question. Great question. Actually, saying that, value for money, considering the actual use of the gear that I've had, I've got to go with the J20.
Combustion Eng says I was half expecting Mick to say the Klon. Yeah, because I paid virtually nothing for it.
Yeah.
Compared to current values, but I don't use it that much. I do. It's often it comes on and off the board because I have a sort of love-hate relationship with it.
Yeah. BV's just said to me, Dan, your isolation box at home. Mate, absolutely. That has as much value for me as any other bit of gear because I cannot record without it. I can be in here where I can mic up an amp and record and play loud, but I can actually use a real amp at home at proper levels and use the isolation box, which and every track on the EP was done through that ISO cab.
It's funny, isn't it? We often overlook the utility
That's it.
gear because it's not sexy.
Yep.
Hence my comment about the Apollos.
It's great shout.
Yeah.
Bever.
Boston Terry says, Mick, seems like you got a bit emotional talking about Blue. Do you miss that guitar? I really don't, Terry, and not in any sort of negative or pejorative way. I'm so glad. A lovely guy called Graham bought it, and I'm so glad it's got a home where it gets used and it's appreciated. As a part of a mode of being, I don't regret or miss or look forward to or hope for anything. I have no feelings of that in my nature. It's what's happening now is what's important. So if I find myself feeling nostalgic or hoping for something, I just stop doing it immediately because it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
And that's the way I feel about guitars. When you've got them, you're the custodian and it's your job to use them, even though there's a whole shitload of stuff there that's not getting used, but that's your job. And then when it goes to someone else, it goes to someone else. And that's its life now. And I feel that's what I feel good about. So, and I'm grateful. I do have a level of gratitude for the time I had with it and everything that it enabled. And I'm grateful for that, but I don't dwell on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did love that guitar.
Yeah. G Barge. Hello, G.
G'day, mate.
Dear Leggins, hello from Nashville. Blimey, G, you do get about. You're always somewhere. Cool.
Sweet home, Alan Nashville.
If we bump into a beloved uncle, we will let you know. Say hi from us. Man, I watched a couple of videos with Tom this weekend. Tom Bukovac, he's talking about Uncle Larry, just in case anyone's not following. One was the video on the G7, and there was another video. It was a homeschooling on something. And every time when he starts off with one of those jams, it's always different.
Yeah.
And it's always melodic, and it's always like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. There's he is out there. He's an outlier. He's so accomplished. And I saw an interview with him, and someone said, he's saying, you know, well, what song do you want me to play? And said, the guy said, Rocket Man. And I think he meant to say something else, but he just, off the top of his head, played a chord solo of Elton John's Rocket Man. Like,
Yeah.
I'd never played it before.
Yeah, yeah.
And he starts playing it. It starts whipping out all the chords, melody all at the same time.
The
and he
dude
goes-
is music.
He is.
And I am absolutely convinced at no point does he ever say, now is coming a flat sharp minor 9.
Yeah.
And that never ever enters his brain.
Right.
Ever. It's just, he has surpassed that to the point where it flows.
It's just harmony.
It's
Yeah.
just, yeah. I love him. He's just amazing. Todd Roy, just a quick one, Todd. Todd says, I miss Mick playing the Fire Mist Gold Strat. There's a lot of it in this Friday's coming video. We are comparing some spring reverbs, some new ones, and some existing ones.
So good.
And I play the custom shop Gold Strat quite a lot in that. So,
Sorry, Dustin Thier says it was Yellow Brick Road, not Rocket Band. That's right, Yellow Brick Road. Yellow Brick Road. And I think, I remember what the presenter, the song, I think he meant to ask him to play, but ended up saying Yellow Brick Road.
Tie Yellow Ribbon.
Sus,
Yellow
could
by
be.
Coldplay.
Yeah, that's it.
Yellow by Status Quo.
Yellow. But
Yellow.
yeah, he just pulled it out. It was incredible.
Yellow, is it me you're looking for? Come on.
There you go.
Rebel Yellow.
Yellow.
Yellow, what a beautiful morning.
Oh boy. Very good.
Okay. You know what to do in a chat, people. Tom Snyder. Oh, actually, to finish G Barge's thing, he says, walk into the Gibson garage now. Have a great time there, G. He says, I'm delighted if you could grab a question from our mates in the chat, and we shall do so right now. I'm trying to find a question. Come on. All I need is a question.
Here you go. Paulie's Guitars and Gear says, a bit late tonight, sorry. Any news on the guy's new pedal? Might be a spot waiting on my board.
We're at least 12 weeks out. Is that right?
Yeah.
I think so. About 3 months out at the earliest, we think.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah, I think is the latest of where we are on that one.
But 'tis a groovy thing. Yellow Submarine, Yellow Dolly, this is Lewis. Yellow again, yellow. Mellow yellow. Yellow darling, nice to see you. Very good.
Tom
Thank you, people.
Snyder. Tom Snyder says, I'm a massive fan. He doesn't say of what, but he is a massive fan. Maybe he's just like,
Massive.
he's a massive fan. Literally attached to a large electric motor.
Oh, I do declare.
Huge artificial feathers attached to his arms and legs. Going around and around and around. Sorry, Tom, we digress. He says, I've been a worship guitarist for years. I love the episode with Dan's sister. Blew my mind that she was your sister.
Yeah.
Relatedly, any thoughts on the new Strymon Big Sky?
Oh, so we have one here. I'm going to do probably a vlog on it. So the very first video we ever did was with the Strymon Big Sky.
That wasn't.
Blue. Yes, this.
It's with the Blue Sky.
No, the Big Sky. The Blue Sky is the smaller one.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You're right, Dan.
Yeah.
I have to accept my wrongness.
No problem.
I'm just accepting it.
It's a rare thing.
It's rolling over me
So
like
I'm
a
gonna
20-ton
dine out on that
truck.
one.
I'm crushing.
So the Big
wrongness.
Sky Max is the new one that Strymon got. We've got one here. I need to sit down and spend some time with that. I'm a big fan of the original. Still sounds great. I want to... The question that I've got is, if I like the original, why would I go to the Max?
Yeah, I mean, not only that, but in between that and now, we've gone through all kinds of reverbs that you kind of prefer, like the CXM, some other things.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that Strymon have updated the Big Sky because new stuff's come along.
Yeah.
I would be thinking about Meris at this point.
Yeah.
Would we?
The LVX.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Do you know what it do? Do you know why it's better?
well, you can run two engines at the same time. And I'm interested in having a look. I'll probably, yeah. So we'll have a think about it. We may do it as a main show. We may do it as a vlog, but it's an interesting thing that they've done. I would have thought that they would have done the timeline max, but they've gone for the Big Sky Max. So, now, not to say that they won't do a timeline in the future, but I as far as I know, they're not working on it.
I've got an idea. Tell us what you think about this idea. Sometimes a subject comes up where one of us is far less interested. What?
Let it go. Yep, keep going.
And it would really benefit. So in this case, you know, it's just not my area of interest at all. I don't have... I'm sorry if this sounds unprofessional, but I don't have 2 weeks to pour into a pedal I'm never going to use.
Yeah.
So one of the ideas I had was that instead of me, we could get somebody else to present the show with Dan, who is interested in that.
Right.
And they would be able to... The conversation between you two would be much more interesting because that person could spur you down a route of stuff you hadn't thought about and vice versa.
Sure, but I think you do that anyway, regardless of your interest in it.
There is a point where I'm like, I don't know the question to ask.
Okay.
And that is definitely the case with stuff like modulated reverbs, all that kind of stuff, because I have no grounds of reference for it. And there must be people out there who are really into this stuff, making music with it, which would make a super interesting show. If you like that idea, let us know, because I think it could be a nice way to develop TPS, just to really nail it on, because, you know, I am aware that we've done things in the past and I'm sort of sat there scratching my head going...
Yeah, okay.
Roughly that.
I don't know how you put that on a thumbnail.
Exactly. And you might say, well, just take some time and learn it. And it's like, it's just never going to happen.
And the reason is because if you're not, I'm happy to learn about stuff that I'm really interested in. If you're not interested in it, it is torture.
Yeah, I don't play the guitar enough anyway. So the idea of sacrificing whatever guitar time I have to learn about a pedal I will literally never use, that's the experience I had with the H90.
Sure.
Just to then say to everyone, yeah, I hate it. It kind of is such a waste of everyone's time, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Kevin the Just says, get EOB at O'Brien on it. That'd be fun.
That'd be good. That would be good. That would be good. That would be good.
Okay.
William Young. Hello, William. I hope you're both well. I'd love to be able to sing while playing guitar, but it's always felt impossible, no matter how much I try. My brain won't let me do both. Have you got any tips to get started? Yes. What would your tip be, Dan?
What would my tip be? Start off with a song that has 2 chords. Or, you know, just really, really simple.
Or one.
Even just 1 chord. What's a 1 chord song?
Actually, a 2 chord song, something like Dreams by Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know what key it's in.
I think it's in F and G.
There come the copyright police.
There
Right.
you go. Yeah. What a tune.
2 chords. If you've never realised that song is 2 chords, it's 2 chords. What I would do is pick a song you like and try and prioritise the singing, right? Just don't worry about the guitar to begin with. Prioritise the singing because that's the most important bit. And try and play the first beat of every chord change.
Yeah, just play 1 chord, even 1 note.
Yeah.
2, 3,
and if you do slow songs, it's easy. So if you did, I don't know what song it might be. Jolene by Ray LaMontagne. Cocaine flame in my bloodstream. I sold my coke when I hit Spokane. Packed up at a hard pack of cigarettes in the early morning rain. I've only played 2 chords, and it was kind of where they changed, right? And because it's a slow song, you can just let it do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, nobody
It's resonating through your skull.
It sounds great.
Really cool.
9-pound hammer or a woman like you. Any one of them things will do. That is a great way to practice.
Open up your mouth. You just hit the guitar really hard. I was just trying to get a wah thing going. See if it's resonating through your skull and out your mouth.
So I would do that. I would play the first, either where the chord changes, or on the first beat of the bar. And it might be that you could do both of those things.
Yeah.
And then stop worrying about this,
Yeah.
and play a vastly simplified version of whatever the guitar part might be.
Yeah.
Because if you're, you know,
Yeah, you're playing all that through the...
give me a reason, got a good reason, take it easy way out, got a good reason. That starts to get harder. And there are some things that are easy to play or easier to play. Manic depression, touching my soul. Because the notes
The
you're
notes
playing
on the beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what I want, but I can't. So some things are easier to sing and play than other things
Yeah.
where the rhythm is syncopated
Yeah.
against the vocal melody. But yeah, 1 chord on the first, either where the chord changes or on the first beat of the bar, and prioritise the singing.
Mm-hmm.
This is for you, Dad.
Right. So
Even
if you... That's
We're so gonna get a
that
copyright
verse,
strike.
right? That verse is just that 1 chord, right? But I'm not even playing chords now. I'm just... All I'm worried about is my right hand. And you can probably hear the chords in your head. Right? So once you've got this going, the next important thing is that, right? And then just
Who
keep
cares what
working
you
it,
do with this?
keep working it, keep working it. It will come. It will come.
Yeah. And that, boiled down, that is chunk it into pieces rather than try and doing it all at once.
Yeah. That was very good. That was fun. Nice. Very good.
Flip spin.
Ah, very good.
Yeah, I say do it. But keep doing it, and you'll find, as with anything, practice makes better. And there'll be moments where you go, and you'll hit a new plateau.
YNGSHP says, open up your mouth and hit the guitar really hard. Great t-shirt. Oh, that's really good.
Say what you want about cowboy chords, but they're a great way, and yes, they are.
Completely.
Most of the best music is played with them, in my opinion.
Well, this is interesting. So Robert Lewis says, mix input and reaction to the things he's not particularly interested in sometimes serves as a bridge for those of us who feel the same.
Okay.
That's valuable. Thank you, mate.
Yeah, hope that helps, William. Moving along, Angad Singh. Hello, Angad. He says, I appreciate you guys. I'm thinking of getting a new gain stage, and I'm wondering about what I should get. I currently have an Old Blood Noise Endeavours Fault, a JHS Bonsai, and a box of rock. What are your suggestions? With love, from Pasadena. I'm just going to figure out what the Old Blood Fault is.
I tell you what, Old Blood Noise are one of my favourite companies at the moment. They do some of the most interesting stuff. Super creative designers. Yeah, really cool. Let's see, because
It's an overdrive and distortion. Well, you need a fuzz. Is what you need, because everything you've got there is an overdrive or a distortion.
Yeah, get a fuzz, get a big muff.
Yeah, or a boost. So the Fault is an overdrive, the Bonsai is an overdrive, obviously many tube screamers, and a Box of Rock is a dual stage overdrive. It does have a boost in it, but it might be that a boost. The other thing you could get to make it topical is a Boss G7.
That's nice.
Watch the recent video with Robert Baker and Tom Bukovac, and Tom explains how he EQs all of his guitar sounds and how he uses the boost in it to get different types of boost. So an EQ can be considered very much a gain stage depending on how you use it. I'm going to go with that.
Very good. Very good.
Because you've got so much overdrive and distortion now. I don't think you need any more overdrive and distortion.
Yeah. And also depending on how you use it. I've always been a fan of treble boosters into overdrives and distortions. For that super mid-boosty thing, that almost cocked wah type sound for solo lifts and Brian May type sounds. That's great, but I can't argue with the idea of a G7 at the end of everything. That's a great shout.
Yeah, and you could also experiment with it between other pedals as well to do various boosty things. But at the end, yep, as Father Tom says, that's where it should go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Michael Buckner says Johnny Marr for a reverb show. Well, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. Doki and indeed okay. Let's move along. James Urquhart. Hi, James. Great to hear from you. He says, "Hi, gents. Thanks forever. The excellent and informative show." Thanks for the excellent and informative show, I think is where we're going with that.
Okay.
On parallel gain stages. Now I'm considering a new amp for home use with occasional gigging.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on the Cali Tweed 220 1x10? Anything better?
Cali Tweed is a spectacular amplifier.
Really groovy, yeah.
If that floats your boat, then you're not going to do any better. Certainly for, unless you go like fully hand wide stuff. But I think the Cali Tweed's amazing. Especially
if you're in the US where they're much more reasonably priced than they are here. We have the 1x12 40 watt version. And that's killer because you've got the attenuator if you need to be quiet, but you also have the benefit of the bigger box. Now, kind of interesting this. When people talk about Pro Juniors and other 1x10 amps, half of my head's always going, when you're playing on your own, a small box 110 always sounds boxy. It always sounds kind of
constrained.
If you're used to hearing a 12 in a bigger cab.
Yep.
But what's interesting about that is by the time you get into a band and you've got a bass player and a drummer and other people playing, actually the 110 format can work really great because it just sits you in the right place. Often that boxiness is created by less apparent low end and also a rolling off of highs quite often as well, because again, if it's a 110, tends to be a lower wattage amp, so you crank it up more, the highs go into overdrive quickly, so what you get is a predominance of mid-range. That tends to be what happens in 110s.
Yeah. But it's also the cabinet with the 110 is so important with any guitar speaker thing. I remember with Jesse when we're looking at doing My Lazy J, and he had the smaller cabinet and then this cabinet that was slightly larger. The difference in sound is remarkable. With the Princeton's like a nice sized cabinet for that 1x10 sounds fantastic. You can get smaller cabs and that has a large thing to do with that boxy sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 110 thing though is really, really cool.
Yeah, try one. It's great. We totally recommend it. The attenuator, the reverb's really nice in it as well. The EQ is extremely powerful, so you can get it to where you want it to be. Yeah, we like them. The caveat is, if you're into that, how shall we say, Tweedy overdrives tend to be quite mid-range focused. They tend to still have plenty of edge on. It's not a very smooth sound as such. So if you're into like a much more smooth Santana-like overdrive, maybe not the best choice. But if you like things a bit edgier, then a great choice. Also, if you want very, very loud, clean sounds, also not a good choice because it will start to break up pretty early. If you want a loud, clean amp, get something with more watts. And I don't know what the price difference is between the 220 and the 440, but if it's not that much, I think I'd always buy the 440 with the bigger box 12-inch speaker. I mean, it's a bit bigger, it's physically bigger, so that might be a problem. But yeah, and then you've got an absolutely true all-rounder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Good luck.
Yeah, mate.
Good luck.
Gordon Reagan, have to walk the puppies. Everyone have a great day. You too, mate.
Have a nice walk, Gordon.
Thanks for stopping by, San Diego.
San Diego. Chris Allen. Hello, Chris. He says, hi, DNM. I'm looking for some advice on an amp upgrade. I'm a home player currently using a Laney Cub Super 10.
They're brilliant.
Normally mostly clean with pedals. I'm thinking about something Fender E.
Laney Cub Super 10, you want to upgrade from that? I'd say Princeton. But yeah, the Laney, what was the Laney did the VC15 or the LC15?
There was both. LC15 was like relatively more upright,
right,
tube thing, and the VC15 was wider.
Oh yeah, no, I'm thinking of the LC15. That was a great sounding amp.
If I'm remembering it correctly. Just checking out this Super Cub. I think what you need to do, and I apologise for saying you need to do this, it gets on my tit in a massive way when people say, you need to do this. Especially in comments.
Right.
So there you go. Now you know what you need to do if you want to upset me on a Sunday morning. What we would suggest, Chris, might be a reasonable thing for you to try, or at least to define.
There's a puppy.
Rosie, what are you barking at?
Hey!
Is define what it is you want different from the Super Cub, from the Laney Cub.
Yeah.
Is it more bottom end? Is it a more refined sound? Is it, and actually refined sound, that's not helping at all because you have to define what that means. Is it more bottom end? Is it a smoother overdrive? Is it better reverb? Is it more volume? And I think once you put some shape on that, it'll make the choice much easier because then the route would be better. So if, for example, you'd said, I want to upgrade from the Laney Cub, it sounds a bit small, I don't like the reverb, and I want a smooth overdrive sound. You haven't said those things, but if that's what you'd said, we would say, you need this. Or this would be a good thing to look at. If you're saying the only thing you need is more clean headroom and no reverb, then we'd point you in a different direction. So maybe refine the question a little bit, and I think that will help your own research as well. Yeah. And if you want to come back with that in the comments,
that's the thing, though, isn't it?
Try and keep an eye on it.
It's defining the question. It's defining what it is that you want to do. You know, what overdrive pedal should I get? What amp should I get? What delay should I get? What are you looking to get out of it? Oh, okay. I want a delay that does lots of different things because I play in 6 different bands. I only have one delay pedal. Okay, great. You've defined really well what you need a delay pedal to do. It means that you can now look specifically at delays that do that. But the idea of, okay, well, what is the best one? It doesn't help.
No. Absolutely. Jamie Brown says that's the most politically incorrect thing Mick's ever said. I doubt that, Jamie, but there we are. Victor Gustafsson. Hello, Victor. Hey, gents, thinking about building a cab for a late 60s baseman. 50-watt black panel circuit as a summer project. What elements, size, material would you choose? What off-the-shelf cab would you buy?
I would see if you can get some of the dimensions from Robin's.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, Robin's Dumble cab and build that.
So I measured Robin's Dumble cab.
Did you?
In fact, Jake did.
Okay.
Obviously, the details of which will never be published, so
Yep.
please don't ask, because that wouldn't be right. But they may already be freely available. But I'm not gonna do that. That would be a gross
Was that a standard cab size? for him?
invasion
Do
of
you know?
privacy. Well, okay. So what the reason we measured it was because I wanted to know why it sounds different from my 2-rock cab.
Okay.
Noticed I said different, not better. Sounds
Right.
much better.
Okay.
And I was looking at it going, oh, maybe it's just a blonde piggyback cab stood on its end. Because it's not the same dimensions as the 2-rock 212,
Okay.
right?
And it's not.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not. It's quite significantly different.
Right. Okay.
But maybe what it is, if you look at a blonde piggyback, because that's what Dumble
That's what I
started
said,
working
yeah,
on, right?
yeah, yeah.
If you look at a blonde piggyback 2x12 Fender cab, maybe it's just that stood on its end. Now, this, you might already know all of this. This might be old news, but that's what came to mind.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, Victor, I would do some research on those early to mid 60s piggyback cabs that they did and get the dimensions of that and copy that is
There
what
you go.
I would do.
Yeah. That's a great.
Why are you laughing?
Great suggestion.
Don't worry.
That's a great suggestion.
Have I said something dumb?
No.
Oh, right. Sorry for the chewing. Rosie's got a small piece of beef rib. Lucky dog. You may not be able to stay and do that, Rose, because it really does upset the people.
Oh, she's so lovely.
What we should do is make one of those videos that people put on Instagram of cute animals eating things. Have you seen those?
Oh, yeah.
There'd
No.
be like a
I
chinchilla or
couldn't,
something eating
no.
a bit of celery.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, Rosie. Sorry, you're going to have to go. You can't stay and do that. Go on.
Come on, sausage.
Go on. Take
Good
the
girl.
business. Good girl. Actually, I think it was a bit of paddy whack, but anyway. What off-the-shelf cab would I buy? Where are you, Victor? Sweden. Maybe there are some custom cab offerings in Sweden. I've got a numerous Zilla cabs made by Paul Goff at Zilla, and I love every single one of them. He'll make custom cabs of all kinds. Or have a flick around on Reverb or eBay. I do
Yeah.
that quite a bit. Looking out for old Fender cabs. Old Fender cabs seem to go for like next to no money,
Really.
especially the 2x15 bass ones, which might be a bit overkill, but it's surprising what you can pick up used. Might be more difficult given your geographical location, but yeah, have a look around, see what's groovy.
This might sound very dull. I've got a couple of cabs back at the office, and I'll be so interested just to hear. We'll just get a couple of sounds up that you and I are both familiar with, and just bang through a bunch of different cabs. Put the same speakers in the cabs. But I've got this 2x12 cabinet. I keep forgetting who it's by. It's just a magic thing. Yeah, I'd be interested to see.
Such a personal thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Combustion Engine, did you plug the 2-rock into the Dumble cab? No.
We would never do such a thing.
Yeah. There was a good reason for doing so as well. Anyway, okay, let's move along. But Backer says, hello gents, I'm a bit late. A cold Scotch egg with an almost runny middle. That sounds interesting. Yes, so well done, Backer. You read the description for today's show. Sainsbury's do this Scotch egg, right?
Right.
That's cold. Jake bought some at lunchtime. You cut it in.
Oh, no, don't start saying, oh, yeah, I couldn't imagine anything worse than a... Anyway, please go on.
Really?
No.
Oh man, it's magic.
Really?
And it's almost runny. And I'm wondering, how do you get an almost runny yolk in a cold Scotch egg? How do you do that? I mean, chefs will know. Probably not that difficult if Sainsbury's can do it and put it on the shelf. You know.
Go on, Jake. What is it?
Soft boil it.
So you soft boil it in the first place. And then...
Yeah.
Then put it in ice.
But isn't it cooked when it's in its little meaty jacket?
Yeah.
Right.
It's then deep fried, so you soft boil it and then you deep fry it anyway.
But you don't deep fry it enough to be able to continue to cook
you don't soft boil it enough to be able to cook them.
Do you like Scotch eggs in general?
No.
Oh, you don't?
No. Not a fan.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Just layers of nothingness. No.
You've never had a good one then?
Well, I've tried a few because I've heard about them. I thought, oh, that sounds like it'd be delicious.
Have you ever had one in a fancy gastropub?
No.
See, now that
you
need to do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of my many missions to convert down to things, the next one is Scotch egg.
All right.
Because a Scotch egg is a thing that you pick up on a cold buffet at a terrible party, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you're like,
it's all the beige food.
oh my God, you can see the E. coli jumping off it and all that.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Okay. All right. If you can find a good one, then I'll give it a go.
Okay.
I'll have to cook one.
Oh, you have to cook one. So, how you've lived so many lives at such a tender young age, but Jake is a chef as well.
Chris Dalton says, Scotch egg with black pudding. Now you're talking.
I tell you, I was in Edinburgh and I thought, okay, I'm in Edinburgh. I'm going to try some haggis.
Yeah.
And we were at Edinburgh Museum or something, and they just had this cafe, and in it was some haggis. And I tried it. Absolutely loved it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just simple.
It's just
it's just great.
well seasoned
Yeah.
matter, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I think that's the official description. Somebody says, Daniel Madurera. Daniel, you say that boogie cab looks like a Thiel. Question is, does it have the EV? Yes, it does. I'm in the process of purchasing this off my friend Neville. This is a original
That's close back. Oh, that's cool.
boogie Thiel cab. Yeah, well, ported.
Ah.
Monster sounding thing,
Seriously?
especially if you've got two of them.
Oh, no way.
It's the sort of spiritual brother to the 212, and it's an EV. So I've got this one from Nev. I look out on Reverb. Another one will come up one day. The only thing is, right, here's the problem.
Okay.
I'll demonstrate the problem.
All right, tell me the problem.
Problem number one. What amp do I want to use on it?
Baseman.
Baseman. All right, let's use the Baseman on it.
Yeah, it's wrong.
Doesn't fit.
No, it's wrong. Just wrong.
What amp shall I use on it now, Dan?
Sovtech?
The Sovtac might fit.
Because actually, the Sovtech I think would be a really good shout. It's a really good
I
sounding
mean, obviously,
head.
you'd put a Mesa Mark Series head on it, is what you would do.
No, still. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What are those little amps that we have in the toilet?
Yeah. So something like a Victory V40.
Yeah, little lunchbox thing.
The one I'm going to try on it. I mean, obviously, it doesn't really matter. You should choose the one that sounds the best. Let's not skirt around
Speaking
that too
of
long.
Victory
This works.
Yeah, that looks great. That looks great. Speaking of Victory V40, there's a young guitar player who I watch often on Instagram. And
Stephen Lukather.
No, Stephen Lukather. Very good.
So this is what it should be, obviously. the most ridiculous head to cab.
That's very good. That's very good.
Yeah. My left eye is actually going. I need to stop that.
Okay, let me see if I can find him.
Asher Belsky?
No. He has the most amazing touch.
Jake Loosemore?
No.
Aaron Shreves. Maybe.
R.N. Shreves. Yes. Tall guy.
He's incredible.
Victory V40. This is act. Oh, come on. That is a show. That is wild. Yeah, okay. Therein lies the problem. Yes,
Yeah.
R.N. Shreve.
I'm starting
Astonishing.
I'm starting a pressure group. Guitarists against new young good guitar players. GANYGP. Pressure group. Do you like it?
I do.
We could run it alongside Musicians Against Music.
Far out. Oh
good.
dear.
Nice little workout. That will have got my numbers up for today.
Did you run today?
I didn't run. I can't. I've done something to my ankle.
Oh no.
And it's so boring. I also drank about 15,000 units of alcohol at the weekend.
I set my alarm this morning to get up because I've been training for the last month because I've had this, even just thinking about the cough, it comes back up. And I thought, okay, I'm feeling a bit better now. I'm going to go back and just start to get into it. I've realised I've lost so much sleep last month. I went to get up this morning early and I just felt ill trying to get out of bed. I was just...
So you just got to do it day by
just
day
gotta
then.
do it, yeah.
Just get on it. Beve says the big trees. No. Oh, yes, the big trees. Yes.
Big trees, but it's only 1 watt.
Yeah.
It's a loud watt, but it is only 1 watt.
Yeah. David Tompkins says,
Here he
turn the
is.
cab on its side and you have a T-Rock. Perfect.
Listen to this guy. Have you heard this guy?
Yeah, I'm just not interested.
Oh, okay.
I told you, I've started my pressure group, guitar players against good young guitar players. Go on, let's have a listen.
He's serious. Victory V40. He's great.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
They're great amps.
Yeah, really great. Really great. But yeah, wonderful, wonderful guitar player. And who's the Dylan, the slide guitar player?
Dylan Adams.
Dylan Adams.
Dylan Adams.
So good.
Admar Herman says, back pain tomorrow, Mick. Day off. Admar, if you could see what actually happens at TPS day to day, there is a great deal of that. Moving amps and cabs around consistently all the bloody time. It does happen a lot. Yeah. Anyway, right. Let's move along, shall we? The next question would be from Has Rido Madrid, or it might be Hath Rido Madrid. Hello, Has or Hath. He says, had the great pleasure of seeing Nile Rodgers 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
In Madrid. Legendary guitar-forward music with hardly any lead and no solos. So, who would be in your top 3 rhythm guitarists of all time? I put rhythm in inverted. Yep. I've never liked the term.
Okay.
I'll tell you, Malcolm Young, and Malcolm Young.
Yeah, he's definitely there. I'd say Noel Gallagher.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the best rhythm guitar players ever. Stephen Wilson, as a rhythm guitar player, astonishing. Would you call... I'm going to call The Edge a rhythm guitar player.
I think you might get into trouble for that.
Yeah, but I think what he does rhythmically and behind the tune...
It carries the whole band.
Carries the whole band. It's so creative.
Defines the whole band.
Yep. Completely.
Yeah.
There's a
nice
bunch,
shout, actually.
There's
I
a
like
bunch
that.
of other ones, but Haven't seen Stephen perform, like a dozen times. And some of those rhythm parts that he does are really tricky.
Mm.
He's just never falters. And obviously, knowing Noel as we do and spending time with him and seeing the way that he approaches his rhythm, it might seem so simple because there's songs that we've all played,
It's hard, man.
And you know what? It is to do what he does.
When we saw him do
Forget
that
about it.
Jules Holland special thing, actually seeing him up close doing his thing, he just didn't put a single foot wrong
No, to-
or hand.
It's why he's a rock star, and it's like just so powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it.
Who else from history? I don't know. Bo Diddley, maybe? Cornell Dupree. Yeah. So there must be a whole... Jake's just said Cornell Dupree. There must be a whole ton of lesserly and greaterly more celebrated and less celebrated session players over the years who've played on all kinds of stuff, who've held it down
Yeah.
in a big way. Steve
Yeah.
Cropper, Paul Jackson Jr.
Yeah. Paul Jackson Jr. is a great show.
I mean, there's just endless, aren't they? But the one that comes to mind first for me is Malcolm.
Yeah.
You hear so many
Oh, man.
openings of AC/DC songs and everyone thinks it's Angus. It's like, no, listen to it. It's a Gretsch. It's definitely a Gretsch.
And it's not crazy distorted.
Yeah.
It's a lot cleaner than you think. It's just toneful. Really wonderful interview. Now, it was one of the producers. I think it was Rick Beato was interviewing one of the producers, and he said, I was young, I was working with AC/DC, and they'd get in the studio and they'd set up and they'd have a couple of cigarettes and they'd have a couple of drinks, and the guys go, come on, and he said but AC/DC realised, he said, look, we've got maybe 4, maybe 5 goes at this because we put everything into this, and so we're going to pace ourselves. Come on, baby. Come on. Good girl. So we'll pace ourselves, and they were so measured and so thoughtful about all of that stuff. And like Malcolm sort of, I'm just having a cigarette. We'll get to it in a minute. And he's sort of leading the charge. So, okay, we're ready now. And they go and bang.
That's just nothing like it.
Just awesome.
Nothing like it. Hendrix, says Chris Quinn. Yeah. We got votes coming in for Tim Pearce from James Bless. Status Quo. A couple of people have mentioned Status Quo and could have back it. Yeah, I listened to a huge amount of Quo as a kid. They were my favourite band as a kid.
Yeah.
Rick Parfitt is usually considered to be the rhythm guitar player. No, he is considered the rhythm guitar player. But they both. That's one of the reasons I struggle with the term rhythm guitar player, because it's 2 guitars becoming one in music. Now, it might be that one person ends up doing the twiddly bits more often, but and then there are more. It's not just hammering away on chords, is what I'm trying to say. It's at the end of the day, it's all guitar, and that's what Quo had. That's what DC had.
Yeah, I met Rick Parfitt.
Yeah,
at in Sydney. What a lovely guy, and he just sat there handing me his guitars, saying, "This, one had a massive hole in it. I just put the cable through that." But his action was like this, like serious. Because I'd had heard of Quo. My friend's band was supporting them, so we were sort of backstage, and I'd heard of them. I was there at soundcheck, and I'd heard these absolute monster guitars, and I'm just trying to think what on earth would make that sound. I was thinking it must be Les Pauls, what it went out 2 Telecasters, and Rick's there, just hammering it.
You watch the neck angle going up over the years.
Yeah. But like even at soundcheck, everything.
Yeah.
Just so cool.
Great. They're great. Curtis R. Hello, Curtis. He says, ends of legs. Question for Dan. Any guitar dad thoughts helping, cheering on, and staying out of the way?
Oh, great question.
Also, is Dad allowed anywhere near her gigs, or is he way too uncool? Much love for Kansas City. Great question.
Well, I'm absolutely allowed near her gigs, and even if I wasn't, I'd still be there. This might sound a bit weird. We've always had music in the house, always guitars in the house. I never actively encouraged the kids to play music. If they wanted to pick up instruments, they were there and would say, this is a great song, and they pick up a guitar and having a bit of a strum as you would if you're a kid. It's like, oh, this is interesting. But so Zach's picked up drums and he plays drums and bass and guitar, and he's sort of, he enjoys dabbling. Liv was just a guitar player, singer. Like, she just loved it. Everything off her own back. So certainly supported her when she's like, Dad, I want to learn this. Can we sing this together? Absolutely. But at no stage was I pushing either of them to do anything musical. Let them discover it on their own. Have it around. Have it an environment where they feel that they can play and have fun with it. Liv came to a point where she said, Dad, I want to take this seriously. I want to be really good. All right. Well, then if you want to do that, have listened to this. See if you can work this out using your ears, and had a bunch of things for her to try. But I didn't push her I didn't push her to do it.
What about exposure to actual music, i.e. going to gigs and things? Did that make any difference?
Oh, yeah. So when the kids were very young, they've always been around music, and they've, met a lot of the artists and stuff I've dealt with. They, got pictures of them very young with James Bay, at the back, and they've sort of been around that for their whole lives. When I was working with Biffy Clyro in the studio for a week, and the kids came down and hung out with them for the day in the studio. Just what a absolute bunch of legends. And Ben, the drummer, gave Zach signed a pair of drumsticks for him.
Yeah.
That moment inspired him to be a drummer.
That's kind of where I was going with it, because depending on the relationship you have with your kids,
yeah.
And I appreciate this is different in families across the world, but my dad was extremely supportive of me playing the guitar and drove me around to gigs and stuff, and that was hugely helpful, and I wouldn't have done it if he hadn't have done that. So thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
Other kids I know, parents hated them being involved in any kind of rock and roll.
My dad, I had to sneak out of the house to gigs,
but that drove them harder.
Yeah, yeah.
So the desire to rebel, to go against their parents, to do things that were dangerous.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what drove the music in them.
Yeah.
And a bit hard if you're a parent going, I'm going to introduce you to this group of people sticking needles in their arms and doing all kinds of terrible things. That's what drew most of my mates to music.
Yeah.
Was the rough side of it.
Right. Yeah. But that's the periphery. That's not the actual music. That was part of the lifestyle. I wanted to be in a band. I love the music, but I wanted to feel like I belonged to something. Because
I wanted to be in a band because I saw Angus Young running around on stage and Jimmy Page and
and all that.
And then seeing live bands and being hit in the chest with it, going, this is the coolest thing I have ever experienced.
Of course, absolutely. All that stuff as well.
Yeah.
But there's a whole bunch of things of why you want to be in a band.
Yeah.
And
mine was never the music.
Yeah.
It was always the iconography.
The other stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think we don't really... That's not there now. It's a different thing now.
Well, I was about to have a moan, actually.
Right, okay.
If you're interested.
Yeah, moan away. What's that?
Actually, I won't. It was your question. Sorry.
Mona.
Sorry. My moan was going to go. One of the problems was silent gigs,
Oh yeah, all
With-
that stuff.
bands being cosseted,
So not rock and roll.
shut down into something that's basically band-shaped object. It doesn't affect anyone the way it used to. It does not. It does. You don't feel it like you did. It will never grab you and shake you and make you never want to do anything else.
Yeah.
That band-shaped objects don't do that.
Great interview recently with Noel, and he was saying these people giving the audience what they want. He said people never wanted punk, but they got punk. He said people never wanted Jimi Hendrix, but they got Hendrix. And it's like, you do your thing, and then the people will find you. But pandering to what you think the people want, it's like, nah, it's not rock and roll.
Yeah.
So, yeah. He's a wise man.
Chris Quinn, I think, is more on your wavelength, Dan. He says, I wanted my parents to be proud of me around music, which they weren't. Oh, interesting. Sorry. And Chris says he has ADHD and dyslexia, and they saw it as a kind of distortion in the kinds of things he should be doing.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
Chris, you wanted your parents to be proud of you for doing this. That's what I was super lucky in that respect. My dad was always incredibly proud
Right.
of it. So that support was there.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. Sorry, mate. I totally hijacked your
No, that's
question.
fine.
I think you'd.
I think it's sometimes as a musician, and if you've got, my wife used to sing in bands. When we met, first conversation was she used to sing in a band with the original keyboard player from XTC. That's how we got in a conversation with Barry Andrews. So, the kids were going to be musical, and they are, but the idea of, okay, you're going to learn this, it's the first thing that'll turn them off music.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Tiger Palmer says, do you try and influence your child's taste or let them discover it for themselves? Too many parents push their tastes on their kids.
Absolutely. Every now and then I listen to Zach's playlist,
Yeah.
and it is amazing, and he just discovers music
Yeah.
and lives the same. And they have, of course, Crowded House and Radiohead and all this stuff, but they now have the wherewithal and the technology to go on this amazing voyage of discovery with music.
Yeah, I've said many times that if you like predominantly the same music as your kids, rock and roll is dead.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for
It
sure.
ends.
Yeah,
It's done
yeah.
because
Get that.
it needs to move on.
Yeah.
Now then, Rosie, how are we? You okay? Where's your Chewy? You gonna go find your Chewy?
No, Daddy. I'm
No,
quite comfortable
I
here.
wanna sit here,
Thank you
thanks.
very much.
I want to sit here, thank you. Okay, I'll use you as a laptop stand then. Next would it be possible, says Clabber P, with a short example of typical Fender amp overdrive distortion versus British Marshall Vox and Laney? It's not possible here. We don't have anything plugged in, but it's a great show there.
Yeah.
What I find interesting is on experience days, the first thing we do when we come in here play loud is we take the Deluxe Reverb and we crank it up to 10. And on 10 with an SG, it sounds like a Marshall.
Yeah, totally.
Rosie's making cute noises.
That thing with the paw goes over the eyes.
Bless her, she's tired. 2 walks today, haven't you, Rose? Yeah, we should. In fact, it would be a great excuse to get Paul's supergroup fired up.
Come on.
That's
a
Laney
brilliant
back
idea.
in the corner there is a 68 supergroup. Just an astonishing sounding thing in its place.
Yep. That's a great show.
All right, let's do that.
Okay.
Maybe we could do that as the other show we do tomorrow.
Okay. Okay.
No?
Well, I'm taking Dave to and from.
Oh, are you? Oh, okay. In which case we just do Dave tomorrow then.
Yeah. But we get the
Dave Gregory's coming in tomorrow to talk about Firebirds.
but we can do the 2 next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
And Warren Haynes is coming in next week.
I've been listening to some Government Mule.
Can we borrow your mate Soldano?
I can try and get that.
do you think? We could offer him a higher fee.
Higher.
I'll pick it up.
Thanks, mate. You been listening to some Government Mule?
Yeah,
You like?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to find out, because I love his slide playing
Yeah.
in standard tuning.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, because I've messed around with that and I sound like an idiot playing slide. He is so lovely.
Oh, we'll get him to talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
that then.
And he was talking about he had to play a lot of slide with Dickie Betts.
Mm.
And
Who passed away recently?
yeah. But yeah, man, and some of the sounds he gets from that Les Paul, it's really heavy and really musical. You know what I mean? It's just a really tough sounding Les Paul, but completely appropriate for the music they're doing. But you could almost stick it in a Metallica middle eight, and it would just be awesome, like really cool.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. We've managed to get a Hughes and Kettner Rotosphere, and we've got the Klon. I think we got a Soldano incoming, so we'll be part of the way there
Amazing.
anyway.
Yeah,
And then we can throw in some things to see what he makes of it, maybe.
yeah. No reverb.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, on his tones,
Wow.
or very little.
That is amazing. Moving along. So, Clabber P, we will make that show. All right. We'll do it as a proper show, and there'll be timestamps. So if you can't be asked to watch the whole thing, you can just watch the relevant bits.
Well, Scott Gaylor says, ask Warren about his old Florida band, Xanax 25.
Okay.
Nice.
What's that? Is it a painkiller or an
Yeah,
antidepressant?
it's Xanax.
Is it?
Yeah, it's all of the above.
Is it? Excellent.
Kills all the pain.
Is it part of America's opioid problem? Is it?
Possibly.
Yeah. How to darkly turn left. No one was making a noise, so I thought I should
Okay.
save the dead air. What pedals would you use? Says AKA Titanium Gecko. What pedals would you use with a Thorpe Effects Heavy Water? TRS version. Boost in and out of, please. Thanks from Ross in Derby. Okay, you've got Heavy Water. What's the TRS version?
Stereo? I don't know.
Don't know. You'll have to enlighten us what the TRS does. It will enable you to split them, presumably.
Right.
So.
Oh, yes. Okay, right. The two versions of the boost, the TRS, you can have one boost before and one boost after.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Not just that you can split the pedals, so you can put things in between them.
That's right. One boost before, one boost after. Same thing. The TRS knows it because the Heavy Water's got two boosts. So, yeah, exactly that. You can put a pedal or whatever in between the two.
In between the two, yeah. Okay. Literally anything. Sorry for the facetious, for the short answer, but it's such a transparent sounding thing.
Yeah.
In a big way.
Yeah.
Literally anything.
And not just gain stages as well. Sometimes,
bored.
like a
Bored.
analog modulation,
You're bored.
punching into an old chorus or an old flanger, the way an input gain stage pushes the preamp section of those can be magical. If you've got an old C2, for example, try sticking that in the middle with the rate and depth on really low and see what happens when you push the front end of that. Awesome.
David Burke, thank you for the laptop dog gag.
Yes.
Thanks, David.
There are lap dogs and laptop dogs. It's very good. You clever girl.
I think you're a bit stinky, Rosie. Yeah, literally anything, and then just go for your preference in terms of what do you like the sound of. Do you like tube screamers? Do you like blues drivers? Do you like fuzzes? It's such a transparent sounding thing, especially with the bass roll off, or at least roll on zeros. You can tailor that amount of bottom end that you want. So if you wanted, for example, to boost it into an overdrive, you can have relatively less bottom end so it doesn't get too flubby. Similarly, if you wanted to put something before it, like a treble booster or whatever, you can add some bottom end back in. But it's such a versatile, massive sounding thing.
Yeah. I remember as soon as we turned it on, it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's a very special sounding thing.
Beautiful sounding pedal. Yeah, so I'm trying to be more helpful, but literally anything. You might find that some fuzzes are a little fussy if you want to put a fuzz after it, depending on what kind of fuzz it is, but fuzz before it will be fine. Yeah, literally anything. So if you had a heavy water TRS version, Dan, and you wanted to put one pedal in between its two boosts, what would you put in there?
Okay, so I would put I'd probably put a Harlot in there.
Kingsley Harlot.
Kingsley
Valve
Harlot.
overdrive pedal.
Because having the gain stage at the input gives me more gain, at the output gives me a lovely boost. And that would pretty much be all my gain covered, doing it that way.
Yeah.
I'm really into the Harlot at the moment. It's wonderful.
Yeah. You do, by doing that, what he just said, you've got everything.
Everything.
You've got absolutely everything. So I'm gonna offer you two alternatives. One as a fairly accessible all-rounder that will mean you can boost into the overdrive to make it sound fatter, and you can boost after for a solo boost, and I'm going to say Noble's ODR1.
Perfect.
If you want to get slightly more esoteric and really cover absolutely everything,
That's my esoteric tones.
you've got a bit of folding in your pocket, put one of those in its
Oh,
loop.
yeah.
This, right, is the most, if you draw a Venn diagram of most versatile, best sounding, coolest looking overdrive pedals, it's right in the middle of that, right? It's incredible. The problem with it is it's only one sound at a time. So you've got all these amazing sounds and all these presets, but you can only have one sound at a time, so you can't do any stacking. Thorpe Heavy Water, either side of that.
That's a genius idea.
Boom.
Yeah. Really genius
It's a few
idea.
beer tokens, but
Some fun vouchers.
yeah, too many fun vouchers, depending on how much fun you like to have. But you know, if you don't eat for a month or something like that, it will be fine.
Yeah.
He said facetiously.
Exist on Sweet
"Have
Sweet
done
Town.
that." Not eaten for a month, but had pasta and sauce.
Ingship. YNGSHP says the Hampstead Odyssey. That's a really good shout
Yeah.
as well.
Similar kind of
Yeah.
deal.
The Despair Squid says, when is the Steve Rothery interview coming out? Very, very soon. That was a wonderful day.
Won't be this Friday. This Friday will be the Reverb show. So spring reverbs, including the Echo Fix, the Surfy Bear, the White Whale version 2.
So there's a real spring reverbs. Real
Something
reverb
else.
springs in a pedal.
And something else. We don't do the Fender Big Box one because we couldn't get one. Dan
Ecofix down Electro.
Electro
Electro.
Spring King.
Yeah.
That was the other one. Yeah. So real spring reverbs. No digital. We decided not to because we still don't think there's a digital one that sounds like it. So we just kept it to the analog, actual, proper springs. That's this Friday. The following Friday might be Steve Rothery,
Okay.
if I can get it edited in time, which I
Okay.
think I can. Yeah. And we have done a Tube Overdrives one as well, which it might be the following Friday, but anyway. Ingship says, Mick, I seem to remember you had a PRS S2 single cut on loan for a minute. Talk me out of buying one. Yeah, get a Les Paul.
Yeah. Okay, I see
That's
that.
how I would talk you out of buying one. Why wouldn't you do that? Why would you buy the S2? I really liked it. It's still here, by the way. It was on loan to that pedal show. We got it because at that time we didn't have an all mahogany 2 humbucker guitar. That's what we wanted. Wanted the sort of slightly more forthright nature of an all mahogany guitar compared to a Les Paul, which is a slightly more complex kind of sound, or it can be, depending what pickups you've got in it. PRS's build quality, obviously, second to literally none. It's astounding. They always play great, or at least you can set it up to your tastes to play great. Things I didn't like about it, the knobs are the different way around from Gibson. I want to say the wrong way around. I'm trying not to say the wrong way around. The controls are wired not where the Gibson controls would be, and after 25 years of playing Gibsons, that's like, but that would be easy to fix if that was a problem for you. The prices are really good. I think you can pick them up used and on deals for really good money. And here's the thing, would I buy an out of the factory standard Gibson Les Paul
Yeah.
or a PRS S2?
PRS every day.
Have a guess.
Yeah, every
what
day.
I would buy. Now, might be that you go into a shop, you find guitar A that you really love, guitar B that you love less. So it's not, please, whenever we talk about guitars, it's all too easy to say PRS S2 and that applies to every single model of that guitar. It's just not the case. You need to play each individual guitar if you possibly can and see if you vibe with it.
Yep.
See if it speaks to you.
Yeah, because it's still wood, and every bit of wood's different.
And the feel, the neck shape, all of it. Pickups wise, what do we remember about the S2? I think they're a little hot for my tastes.
Quite aggressive.
Yeah, a little too hot for my tastes. That's because Dan and I like weak paths. We like traditional paths, you know, like barely potted, slightly microphonic, all the things that were designed out of humbuckers in later years to make them more usable. We really like that. So, but yeah, playability wise, value for money, all of that. Good machines, great machines, in fact.
Yep. Nice.
Jim B. Hello, Jim.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, gents. I know we all love tube amps.
That's it.
If you
Ended there.
If you read the comments on Friday's video, we definitely don't all love tube amps. Are there any solid state amps, not modelers, that you've played that were good? Much love from Akron, Ohio.
JC120 is great. I love the JC40, but it was a bit noisy, but I think they've solved that.
I remember really liking that amp.
It sounded awesome.
Roland JC40. I believe they do a 60 as well.
Yeah. And they do a 112 as well. I think the 60 and a 112. So that's a really cool sounding thing. And interestingly enough, Steve Rothery, who we recorded with, that was a big part of his sound in the 80s. Like a DS1 into that amp, and you would think, oh, mate, that's going to be so...
That was a JC120, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
You think that's going to be so harsh and awful. Magic.
Lots of people really like the Quilter amps.
Yeah, the Quilters are great.
Great value for money. DV Mark.
DV Mark.
If you check out the Eric Gale signature amp, he plays a DV amp.
Yep, as does...
Lettieri, does he play one? No.
No. It'll come to me in a minute.
Aaron Atkins.
Another...
Andrew Armstrong.
No. Oh, come
Bernard
on. No, I did
Brethren.
I did his board. I went to Vienna to do his board.
Oh,
His
him.
famous-
Yes.
this,
Absolutely him. Tony McAlpine.
No, not Tony McAlpine. Come on.
Because he plays keys as well, right?
No,
guy?
Tony McAlpine is an amazing keys player, but I don't know. Oh, okay,
I think he does.
I'll tell you. I can't believe I've forgotten his name. I've dined out on that for ages.
Brian Carpenter says, I love my S2. I swapped out the pickups to bare knuckle mules. Interested in how you got on with them, Brian, whether that made a big difference or not much or whatever, or if you really love it.
Greg Howe.
Thank you. Thank you, Seth Rowe, Doug Floyd. Corey Wong plays DV Mark, apparently. Does he now? Really?
Interesting.
That is interesting.
Frank Gambale, says Scott Gara. There you
Hello,
go.
Rosie. You want to go gnomes? You want to go gnomes, don't you? I know, it won't be long. It won't be long, will it? No, it won't be long. Don't bark. Yeah, so we would say DV Mark,
DV Mark, very cool.
Roland JC series, and the Quilter, who make very many different solid state amplifiers.
Yeah, yeah. All good. All worth a try.
All worth a try, yes. Alexander Roy. Hello, Alexander.
Hey, mate.
Thoughts on the 110 Cali Tweed? We did discuss this earlier. We've never played one, is the truth of the matter. Dan really likes the Princeton that we have, which is a 110.
Love it.
And he uses it in conjunction with his Matchless and really loves it. I've never liked 110 amps unless it's for that very specific mid-rangey.
Right.
You know, I want to say, I don't know if Rykuda or Blake Mills did use 110s. I have no idea if they did. I've got no idea what amps they use, apart from some of the cinema amps. But that mid-focused, overdrivey kind of sound, that's what I love small speaker amps for.
Yeah.
Is that. Now, clearly, all the great Princeton users down the years, check out Jim Campolongo if you want an example of that, tell a different story. But I would always go for a bigger box than a 12.
Yeah.
Always. But
Just to finish the solid state thing, Ben Jammon's reminded me the old Roland Cube, not the new one.
oh yeah,
but the
yeah,
old
Cube
Roland
60s.
Cube 60. So all the jazz players in Australia were using them.
Yeah.
And I used one on a session, and I had an old ADA MP1 preamp and an SPX 90 plugged into a Roland Cube 60, recorded with it. Far out, mate. It
Yeah.
sounded
That's a great shout.
epic.
I think Roland still makes the cubes, but they're probably
There's a digital cube they make now.
there's Cosm in it.
All that stuff
probably.
in it. It's like, no thanks. If you can find an old one, really awesome.
Yeah, I remember the cube. They were just everywhere, weren't
Yeah.
they? They were totally everywhere.
Yeah.
Albus Band, Aaron,
G'day, mate.
for our weekly dose of Spinal Tap quotage. He says, listen, we'd love to stand around and chat, but we've got to go and sit down in the lobby and wait for the limo. I'm just as God made me, sir.
Without booing him when we were walking on.
That much talent.
That was hard.
Dearest D&M, if you had to come up with a stage name, what would it be and why? Love you too, mate. This is a bit like your adult actor name, isn't it?
Do you have one?
Well,
I think Mick Taylor's a great stage name.
trouble is someone's already had it.
Yeah, but there you go.
Yeah.
You know, it still works. I think it's a great stage name.
I'd be Flames Fandango. And I
That's
would
very
insist
good.
on being called Fang.
That's very good. What would mine be?
And every time anyone address me, say, hi Fang, how are you? Fang! See? Sorry, Rosie. Oh, I'm sorry, my baby dog.
That's funny.
Flames Fandango, Fang for short.
Okay. Yeah, I've never thought of an alter ego.
Fang!
That Mick's answer is so good. It's good for the both of us, I'd say.
I think you should be, what would you be? You'd be...
I'd be ADH Daddy-O. The ADH.
You'd be
ADH Bebop.
Dan the Man Modes.
Then, okay.
Down the man modes, you'd be DMM, because it's also deluxe memory mode.
Oh, nice.
You'd be down the man
There
modes.
you go. Okay. Very good.
And then if anyone had said, "Hi, down the man modes, how are you?" You could respond with, "Dum," like that.
Okay.
That's the only sound you make
Right.
ever.
Great. From now on.
What would you like to drink? Dum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Okay. Mick Fang. No, what was I going to say? Flames, Fang, Fandango,
Flames,
and
Fang, Fandango.
down the man modes.
Down modes. Okay.
Good. Thanks, Albert. Thank you, Aaron. Kev Tags. Kev Tags is a pretty good rock and roll name, isn't it?
Kev Tags.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll do.
Kev Tags says, "Dearest Mick and Dan, I'm thinking of buying an electric 12-string for a change. Can you recommend a good one that isn't crazy money, i.e. Rickenbacker? Thanks a bunch and keep up the amazing work." I did a show on this a couple of years ago. Bought an Ibanez 335 shaped thing, which is brilliant. Used it for 2 gigs, never picked it up again.
What's the Dan Electro one?
Yeah.
That's my fave, and they're not silly money. I think the Dan Electro one is a winner. You can get the old Fender not Super 6, the Fender one with the long weird headstock.
Yeah, the Strat 12.
The Strat 12.
There's been some parallel universe ones as well, I think.
Right.
So I haven't touched this guitar in probably 18 months.
Okay. Oh, that's hard. That's hard. That's hard. There you go. We don't have time to tune that.
How do you tell which one is connected to? Oh, I see. Oh, there we go. Is anyone liking this?
No, they're leaving in droves.
What I'm trying to do is talk you out of buying an electric 12 string.
He's doing an amazing job. Amazing job. Angus McClellan says, "Is that the special tuning to get around copyright strikes?" I tell you what though, I've had a couple of suggestions. Jeff Haskell says Diamond Dan. The 13th Duke of Thornyborn says Dan's stage name should be Dan Electro. That's very good.
Nice.
That's nice. As much as we take the mickey out of 12 strings, what a great sound.
Were you clocking that I was playing a note perfect version of Good Times by Steve Vai there?
Absolutely. It was bang on. Is that what that is? I thought it was a...
Damn Good Times.
It sounds like... what's that song? Good water, keep on sounding. Crosby, Stills, Nash, is it?
How do you not know that song?
Because
Was it on Skyscraper? Help me
that's
out,
not on
people.
That's not on Skyscraper. That's not a David Lee Roth thing. That's a Steve Vai thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Sure.
I know Idiom and Smile on Skyscraper very well.
Let's
Unless it's a UK.
damn wrong.
Okay.
I think I've deauthorised this from Apple Music, so it won't let me check.
Okay.
What's coming through in the comments?
This isn't painful at all. Time for a refund. Ain't nobody got time to tune that thing.
Yeah. So, despite the terrible tuning, that the Ibanez Art Core series is such fantastic value for money.
Yeah, for
really,
sure.
really fantastic value for money. Dan mentioned the Fender, various Fenders. Reverend is a really good brand to check out for sensible money. Dan Electro, as mentioned.
Let's see, Dan Electro 12 string.
I think there's a whole bunch of them.
Oh, look, there you go. Dan Electro 12 string, 700 quid at GAC.
Yeah.
They're a great guitar.
James Bless, don't take this the wrong way, Mick, but that would give an aspirin a headache.
That's very good.
I want to find out what this song was. I'm sure it's Good Times by David Lee Roth, but it wouldn't be the first time I've been wrong about something today, Dan.
Let's see.
I don't think this is going to work.
Good Times, David Lee Roth, 1988. Let's see if I remember this.
Hello, dog. Hello, dog. Is it on Skyscraper, Dan?
It is on Skyscraper, but I didn't recognise it from what you were playing. Okay, I recognise that. Oh.
I think what Rosie said was...
That's not a 12 string, that's a sitar and an acoustic guitar.
I think you're trying to claw your way out of it. And the bit on the end.
I remember that. That's very good. Did you learn that?
Yes. Well, maybe not.
Man, I haven't heard this in 30 years.
Maybe not. Sorry if you've turned off. Welcome to... Oh, God, we've gone way over time.
Way over.
Shit. Right. Let's carry on. There's only 2 left.
Okay.
Hopefully that helped, Kev. Timothy states, hi, Tim. He says, thoughts on a 30-watt head connected to a 4x10 as opposed to a 212, specifically thinking of the Orange OR30 and a 410 with 45-watt creambacks. Yes. You need to hear it. You need to hear it. Dan and I always think we can hear a top-end breakup on 10s.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, Barefaced Audio guy, sorry, what's his name? Oh, God, I'm so sorry. I've forgotten his name. Is going to send us. He's got a new 110 with an EV in it. A barefaced cab with a 110 EV.
Okay.
I sincerely hope we can't make that breakup.
Okay.
So it really depends on speakers. I would have thought 45-watt creambacks. So you've got 4 45-watt speakers. You've got 180 watts worth of speakers with a 30-watt amp. You shouldn't be able to get them to crap out too much.
Yeah.
There's a high-end thing that I hear with most 10s, which is not to say they don't have bass. All right, that's a different thing. They do have plenty of bass, but they do seem to break in the high end, and maybe that's because of the 10s you usually hear, which is in Fender amps that are either 2 or 410.
Yeah.
The Jensens, which do have that break on the top. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, I think so. That's
Could be
shout.
cool.
Yeah.
Could be really cool, actually. Cab's got a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
How much air there is in that cab. And that's the other thing. So one of the many reasons bassmen sound like they do is the pine cab. And it kind of resonates in a way that a stiffer ply cab resonates differently, and what the baffle's made of. So the cab makes a huge difference too. If there's any way of you trying something, do that, give it a listen and see what you like. No reason it wouldn't sound completely groovy though. I've never heard a 10-inch creamback though, so I can't comment any more than that. Yeah. Jason Sears, wondering on your thoughts about using a crossover. Just got the new Great Eastern Effects and I'm digging the results for guitar and especially bass. Hang on, how does that work?
Yeah, the Great Eastern one's really cool.
What does it do?
It's a crossover. You can select frequencies that go at one and select frequencies that go to another one. You can basically
So you need to use 2 amps.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were playing. Oh, Blackwater. I just had the.
Oh, right. No more barking, Rosie. Do you need a wee wee? Is that what it is? Jake, would you mind taking Rosie for a wee wee? Go with Jake. Go on. Go, Jake. Go, do hurry up.
Oh, we're locked in.
Oh. God, this is turning into a disaster.
We are locked in. You got your keys, mate.
Keys on that one.
See if you can work this out then, Dan.
Yeah.
Splits the input signal into high and low bands, which can be processed by 2 independent effects loops. Okay, so guitar goes in, guitar comes out. You've got 2 loops.
Yeah, you can have a low pass filter and a high pass filter.
So you could send one to a
Big
fuzz
muff and one to a
delay pedal.
exactly.
I would have to play with that
Yeah.
because I am struggling to understand how that could be useful.
Yeah, I think David's either sent us one.
Okay,
Because
so
I saw that at the guitar show that we played at.
what about for blending 2 overdrives and getting a parallel blend of overdrives?
Yeah.
Can you use it for that?
You can, but you've got to. I think because it's a crossover, right? So one does your bottom end frequencies and one does your top end frequencies. I don't think you can have both completely open.
Right.
But I could be wrong. Worth a
Okay,
go.
we've got one and we're going to have to get into it. So, Jason, again, please consider this forwarding of your super chat. We will get into it into a full show because neither of us can really understand how that might be useful. Not saying that it's not, by the way, just saying that we don't understand it. So, yeah, bass I can kind of see. I can see
Sure.
bass.
Yeah.
That I can. So, for example, if you've got a fuzz and you want to roll off some low end, that makes a huge amount of sense.
Yeah.
Or you want to keep the low end separate, because that's a thing that a lot of bass fuzzes do. They keep the bottom end super clean.
Yeah.
So I can kind of see that. Interesting. Really interesting. I believe that's us. I'm not going to apologise for the tangents because I know that people like them, but we
Yeah.
did seem to go off on one tonight. Or
No, it was great.
More to the point, I did.
Great fun.
Hobo
Hey, baby
Roadie
girl.
says,
Oh no, come on.
I have an active crossover in the Brotary 3-way.
Good girl. Yeah.
A 3-way crossover in the Brotary. A Brotary is a rotary speaker, presumably. Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Hi.
Yeah, okay. Nice. Nice. Baka says, if you get a Bareface 110, please do a show on it. That would be so awesome. Yeah, I'm intrigued to hear that.
Didn't we have a couple?
We've got a couple buried in the corner that Joey uses when he tours.
Okay.
They're 12s.
They're 12s. Okay.
Yeah. So that would be a good excuse to do it. Okay. That will be us. Thank you for bearing with it, people.
Yeah.
We greatly appreciate your...
Yeah, we do. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Really great way to start the week off. Mr. Dave Gregory, my dear friend and guitar hero, and the reason I ended up in this country.
I think our playout song tonight should be an interpretation of Only Making Plans for Nigel.
Okay. There you go.
Is it in... Does it go... Does the other guitar part go something like...
It goes...
like this? With loads of Ernies?
That's all I'm gonna hear now.
Keys it in. Is it in D?
It's in G. We're only making plans for Nigel. Nigel. Yeah. Oh, I haven't played that in years.
What's the other guitar do?
So,
Let's do the jazz version.
okay, 3, 4, 1.
What we need is some more tension and release. Mostly tension. Try this. Play again. Do, do, do.
Oh, man.
We should play this to Dave tomorrow. This is the worst playout ever. Should we pick another song? How much is that doggy in the window? The one with the waggly tail. How much is that doggy in the window? I do hope that doggy's for sale.
Woof, woof. Cool. All right. Thanks, everyone. How much
Is that Nigel in the window? No one with the waggly tail. How much is that Nigel in the window? I do hope that Nigel's
for
writes political
sale.
songs from the 80s.
kill it with fire?
This is the formal apology to Dave Gregory and all the other members of XTC. We're very sorry. Yeah. See you soon. Play us out, Dan.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm only making plans for Daniel. How that? Yeah. Bang!